Greetings, I'm Ankit from BA third year, and I'll be talking about my internship and the assessment of my internship in this video. Let's start by telling you which department I worked from. It was the front office department. It was a rotations training in the JW Marriott Indianapolis in the United States of America for 1 year. I did a rotations training in the front desk and at your service and night audit, as well as the executive lounge. For my first learning objective was for me to be learning the new system that's installed in our hotel in the first 2 weeks of my internship. The first month of my internship, like I probably mentioned in the previous video, first 2 months of my internship, I was in the executive lounge and I was not given the opportunity to learn the new system. But as soon as I crossed over down to at your service team, I did learn the system. The training was complete in 1 week. I think it was less than a week because the reason I had shifted in 2 months and not 4 was because there was a shortage of staff at the AYS department and they wanted me downstairs to help them. And because there was such a rush, they had me working in the 4th or the 5th day of my training, and I had to complete it quite fast. So I think me setting the goal of 2 weeks and completing it in 4 to 5 days, I think job very well done. Okay, so next internship objective was for me to not ask the help of my supervisor more than twice a month or twice a week. I would say that other than the calls that usually want me to transfer to the supervisor, I willingly did not ask for help of my supervisor unless we in hotels always have some kind of strange cases, which is why our lives are so interesting, because we always have interesting stories to tell. So I'm sure it's impossible to do that. I did keep it at the minimum. I, however, did not approach my supervisor for small problems, or even when the guest got rude. I was able to handle it, but only during strange requests where a guest asks, can 55 plates be delivered to their room? And we were busy in in-room dining. That's situations like those I had to ask the help of my supervisor. Another objective was to learn and keep up on my French, which unfortunately I was unable to because we as a hotel were really busy and they had us working extra shifts whenever possible. And I was happy to help because I was getting an amazing opportunity to experience different departments, which was another one of my objectives, the last one, to experience other departments, which I did. I got to experience the in-room dining, I got to experience the banquet, I got to experience working as a concierge. All these were not included in my internship. In my internship, the departments that were included were the executive lounge, as well as the front office. In the front office, we had the front desk, at your service, and the night audit. Technically, executive lounge did not fall in the front office category, but we, as a front office intern, still had to do it. The hotel did get a lot of complaints because of that, but it was not a big deal. It was an experience nevertheless. Now I'll be talking about what all I have learned. I learned the new system. I learned how to handle guest complaints. I learned how to get their folios in the PMS. FSPMS was the system that our hotel was using, since we are over 1,000-room hotel. So that was the easier way to go for us. And I learned that system front and back. And we also learned how to cherish guest requests. Like, there were so many requests did not have anything to do with the hotel, where we had to book a movie ticket for someone for some show that was not even in the city. So me being a concierge and in the front desk, we just learned to cater to guest needs. Now I would like to talk about one of the topics that I had gotten to choose from, and my topic would be a guest complaint. And the reason I choose this topic because I had a very interesting experience, which I'm not sure anybody else might have had during the internship. I hope they didn't. So when I was working in the executive lounge during my 8th month, when I picked up a shift, when they had requested for my help, I was at the door. I was the host, greeting the guests, making sure they had the platinum status for them to enter per Marriott standards. And because of the shortage of the staff and the hotel basically cutting costs, we did not used to have a host. So I used to be working as a busser, and whenever it used to get busy, or whenever we used to think that people are taking advantage of there not being a host, I used to go and stand at the host stand and check people in. So this one morning, two of the families had already came in with their kids, and we 100% knew that it's like 5 or 6 people per room are not allowed. It's 1+1, so only two. So my supervisor told me to go at the door, and at the door, then I had this one family approach me trying to do the same. I tried to stop them. I explained to them courteously about the standards, and then strangely, I was accused of racism because this family was African American, and the two families that were already inside were white families, and they thought that I was being racist, that I had allowed the white families in and not the black family. At that point, to my bed, there was a crowd forming. Like there were at least 10 or 11 or 12 African American people that had come starting to protest, and according to me, that was not a good image that we were putting out there, even though it was highly untrue. I decided to let the family in, and when my supervisor was standing next to me, she had a talk with me after that and said that no matter what happens, you were not supposed to give them in. So maybe I still disagree on that, because at the same time the people inside are looking at what's happening outside the door, and they're getting, if the motive of the executive lounge is to give the people inside some peace, I think the best option was to let them in, which I did. But according to my supervisor, I should have still held my ground. And then I did get a massive survey. They did not mention my name, thankfully, in the survey, but just the event that transpired really made me think that people would go to any extent, or it's basically about them presuming what they presumed, and throwing a word like racist out there was so small for them. At that point, the, the reason I feel that this experience was really important is because after this experience, where I realized that in this job, you cannot take anything to the heart. People do what they do. There's just a billion different kind of people out there. You cannot expect everybody to be the same. You will find some strange people out there. Just make the most of it, get a good story out of them, and move on. So I think this was one of the best experiences that I had, which started as a worst experience, because I did really feel bad for being called a racist. And which was the most funniest part was an African American family calling an Indian racist. So I'm like, I don't even know where you got that from, calling an Indian racist. But I do understand their thinking towards certain aspects of life. So other than that, I did really like and enjoy my internship. I met different kinds of people. I met so many locals out there, and we had a huge and amazing time. I was also close to the director of HR there, Miss Mi Young, and I used to talk to her at least once every 2 or 3 weeks, and we were extremely close. And I feel that this was one of the great internships that I had in a long time. Basically, due to the time that I was there, 1 year, it did get me to talk to and make contacts with a lot of different people. I think now I'll be ending this video with a positive note. And the positive note is that the internship was pretty good. And I will tell you one of the best things that happened to me, which was I got a $200 tip. So it's not all bad, people. I mean, you get called racist, but then some people tip you too. So treat yourself sometimes, and while treating yourself, tell them about the worst experience you had and make them into a good story. So this industry is a lot of ups and downs. Enjoy the ups, get through the downs, and I am really glad that I got to go on this internship. Thank you for listening.